Very dope. That leads us to talk a little bit about what else you have going on and that you've been doing for a minute now, which is becoming hip hop's top chef. Now, I know you
Hmm.
didn't become top chef overnight. So, talk a little bit about your journey and your passion for cooking.
Well, my passion for cooking initially started with my mom, like most of us. Our moms are like the best cooks ever because we've been, from the breast to the table, if you will.
Right.
So we taste what she ate, and then we taste what she prepared us. So you know, I just as some of you might not know, my mother passed in 1990. She was 37 years old.
Mm.
So due to breast cancer. And after coming home from the road, I kind of missed some of those good meals and stuff like that. So I was trying to recreate them on my own, just using my own palate. And being a chef, one of the fundamental things about being a chef is having a good palate. So because I was able to enjoy good food that was prepared by my mother, and she exposed us to so many different things, I kind of knew what it should taste like. Even before I knew exactly how to put it together. So, I started trying to recreate some of her old dishes and stuff like that. And I would let friends taste them and things like that. And they was telling me how good it was. So when I got the opportunity to start cooking at a local club and restaurant that opened up right on the waterfront in Trenton, New Jersey, I jumped at the chance and kept reapplying until they actually hired me. It was like, you don't want no job here. Throw the application away, or you don't got no experience. It was a couple of things, but they finally brought me on, and I worked between supervising the dish room and prepping. So once I actually got on the line to start cooking, I never looked back. And it's been 29 years now. I worked in a different number of restaurants in the area, in between shows, and in hotels. And when I came here to Nashville, Tennessee, I landed a job as a sous chef or lead cook at the largest non-gambling casino hotel in the country, which was Gaylord Opryland. And from there, I just went to other places until I landed a head catering job at Belmont University, where we did the 2020 presidential debates, and I led the culinary team with chefs from around the country to feed all candidates in the whole crew. And then, we did the country music awards and all those different things. So that's when I really was like, okay, I can step away from here and do my own thing at any time. And that's pretty much where it came from. And then as you all know, we was hit with the pandemic. So when the pandemic started, being that I was a catering chef, nobody was coming together anymore. you know and I was laid off like everybody else. Nobody was really doing shows, so everything went to the internet. Right?
Right.
So whatever we did, everybody did it on the internet. So I came up with a show called Hip Hop's Top Chef, where I had about three different characters. One was Chef Chang, one was Larry from the Valley, the other was Francois was a know-it-all chef who went to school with Hip Hop's Top Chef, and he never allowed anybody else to talk. So whenever he would come on, he would be like, "Yes, yes, Hip Hop Top Chef, how are you, sir? How are you doing today?" And I'm trying to interview him, and he keep interrupting me because he's been everywhere, he tasted everything, so he has a lot to share. And then we had Chef Chang. He grew up around black folks, so he loved singing Earth, Wind, and Fire reasons why he cooked, and he always wanted to battle Hip Hop's Top Chef. So he would come on. How you doing, Hip Hop's Top Chef? It's your partner, Chef Chang. Yeah, research the research that we here. So he would come on and always trying to battle me. And then I had Larry from the Valley, who was a privileged chef. His parents had the money. He wanted to do something he thought was cool, but when he got out of culinary school, he kind of went and done something else. So he'd come on and just tell me about how great his life is and what he's doing. How you doing, Hip Hop Top Chef? Hi, hey, how you doing, buddy? Hey, listen, me, I've got away from the kitchen, buddy. I'm doing something totally different now. I'm just hanging out at the beach. You know,
Right.
so he would come on like that, and people would tune in to see the different characters and the food I was cooking. And then eventually they was like, the food looks beautiful, but we can't taste it. You know, they started wanting to taste it. So what me and my wife did is we started thinking about different meals and stuff we made for people and things that we did all the time that they enjoyed. And we came up with our first product, which was Hip Hop's Top Chef, put it in there, seasoning and rub. And Chef Chang, you know, his favorite line was, put it in there. You know, so everybody was like, yeah, I like Chef Chang, put it in there. So I was like, okay, quite naturally, that's going to be the name of the products, put it in there. You know, so we came out with the rub, and then people was like, oh man, that's great. I put it on my ribs, I put it on this and that and that. But what really would be nice if I had some barbecue sauce to go on there. And you know, with me, I'm like, okay, all right, here we go. So then we came out with the put it in there barbecue sauce, and we start pumping that. And what we were doing was, you know, since we were doing that, and my job was still kind of help take care of us a little bit, we start giving a portion of the proceeds to families who were struggling during the pandemic.
Mm.
You know, and that helped out a lot, man. You know, it was just very little to feed, you know, a whole family 3 meals a day for weeks. So, you know, and that was part of my drive and motivation, is to make sure, since I was being blessed, and the Most High was giving me these ideals, that I would, you know, share with other people. So that's pretty much how the Hip Hop Top Chef character came. And the name itself, it was just catchy. You know, for me, it always has to flow off the tongue, right? Hip Hop Top Chef. So
Mm.
I was like, that's good. You know, that works for me.
Right.
And that's pretty much, you know, to make a short story long, that's how
Very dope.
how it
Very
came
dope.
about.
Right.
Yeah.
Just to back up just a smidget, did you at any point go to culinary school or want?
No, I'm an apprentice chef, you know, and you know, School of Hard Knocks, a lot of books, you know, before the internet really start popping. You know, I was maybe like 25, I would say. And you know, it's just like a lot of hard, just, you know, putting my head down, reading, studying, trial and error, you know. But the blessing that I had was working in a lot of great hotels, and the restaurants taught me speed. You know, it taught me how to get the food out because we were so busy. But the hotels really showed me like 5-star dining. You know what I mean? Uh, the mother sauces, the how to roast, how to broil, how to bake, how to sear, you know, how to broil, and all of those things. You know, and then it exposed me to a lot of different ingredients, because we would always have a special, and everything had to look nice as well as taste good. You know, as to where, you know, a steakhouse or something like that is about, hey, wrap it up, go get it, get out of here. You know,
Right.
so that skill helps me out with my food trailer, because you know, you get fresh food in under 10 minutes. So, you know, it gets in, out, and right away, and the food is cooked to perfection. You know, so yeah, that's where I got my, you know, uh got my chops from, man, you know.
Right. Now you mentioned that food trailer, and that's the direction I wanted to go.
Hmm.
Talk a little bit about some of the trials and errors you had to overcome to get this food trailer to your specifications.
Well, the main thing was coding, you know, keeping up with all the fire codes, getting certain permits, you know, all those things, all that stuff that comes with opening up a new business. You know, you have to go through all that. Is, you know, it's not like you can just get it and put food in it and go. You know, you have to get all your fire suppression systems done. You have to go talk to the fire marshal and all those things to make sure that everything is properly lined up, and you know, what size tanks to use in order to, you know, propane and all these different things that, you know, is typically on the engineering side in the kitchen. So that's what I learned a little bit more with this, but also how to park a trailer. You
Right.
know, as we don't sit it at the location, because we change locations, and people can rent out the whole trailer for a day or a party. So just getting into those tight spots and stuff like that, and just dealing with the different personalities face to face, because in a restaurant there's typically three people that you have to see before you get to the back of the kitchen. That's the hostess, the server, the busser, and then you deal with the expediter, and then you deal with the chef or the cook. But with the food trailer, it's direct from us to them. So they get to see our personality. We get to talk to them. We get to minister to them if necessary. People come up and they just want to talk sometimes, or they seen us on Instagram or on social media, and they'll be like, hey, man, I just come by to check this out. And it teaches you patience too, man, because everybody is different. Some people are novice about what they want, and then some people are foodies nowadays. People are eating everywhere, they're trying different things. I think this is one of the best times for food, because people are willing to step outside of their comfort zone and experiment with different ingredients and different things. So I think it's awesome, man, to do that. And with the food trailer, it gives the community an opportunity to try the food out that I'm doing now, instead of having to collaborate with other people in other establishments. This is all us. We created our own menus, and we get a chance to see what works, what don't work. And some of the things I picked up from various places, but it's all about, it's definitely a different experience doing it this way. And it's an introductory to what we hopefully would like to open a restaurant. It's the beginning of a restaurant, maybe a chain, who knows. But and also for us, it's like, to me, hip hop has always endorsed a lot of different products and endorsed a lot of different things, consciously and subconsciously. And at the end of the day, we didn't get the opportunity to reap the fruit or from all of this. You know what I mean? And it's things change, man. We change, we grow, we learn, we get smarter. And you know, also I wanted to like open up a challenge to different chefs who might want to challenge me. You know what I mean? I am willing to title hip hop's top chef. So I open it up to different chefs who might want to challenge me. It don't just have to be in hip hop. It can be a Bobby Flay. It could be whoever, a G Garvin. It could be anybody that want to challenge me to a duel, to see if the hip hop guys are really serious about what we're doing, because there's a lot of people hip hop right now that are selling products, that have their own restaurants and are doing extremely well. You know what I mean? But I also want the culinary community to take us seriously, because we coming for you. So Bobby Flay, any one of you guys from any one of those networks, I'm not gonna say your name, but any of you guys from the network that want to try hip hop's top chef and see what we got, I'm willing to be the first candidate to step up and represent the culture.
Right. No doubt. Now, what is the culinary vision for your food business?
Well, it's just it's an everyday gourmet, but it's also finding healthy ways to deliver products. Because as a people, we've had certain issues being inculcated into this culture. We had to adapt to a lot of things. So let's say, for instance, my rub has no monosodium glutamate. It has no high fructose corn syrup. It has all 100% natural, as well as the barbecue sauce, no high fructose corn syrup, or none of those things. So, I mean, it won't eliminate diabetes, but it'll help control it a little bit better, because we're not adding all those additives and preservatives into our products. And all of our things are cooked right there on the spot, as fresh as they can be. So at least I would say 90% of our menu is made right on the spot, fresh, for you to enjoy. It hasn't been sitting around, and if you sit one of our burgers around, it's definitely going to age. The bun is going to age. You ain't gonna come back next year and it looks the exact same way.
Right.
So it's all about eating it fresh, juicy. And just letting people know, man, that art is art. Like with music, you layer sounds, and different sounds come in at different times, and it has a groove to it. And food has a groove to it as well, just like images. We stack flavors. You might taste our barbecue sauce and it starts off a little sweet, then it gets savory, and then you feel that heat at the end. And that's what makes it, what it is, that flavor profile. That's what or you get that smokiness, which that's what makes barbecue barbecue. You know what I mean? You got to have, so it's all about execution and food that looks good and tastes good.
Right. Talk a little bit about the types of cuisines that you guys specialize in.
Oh man, so we have some stuff from the local area, which is hot chicken, and that's the native to Tennessee. So we have our hot chicken sandwich that we have, and like I said, it's simple cuisine done right. So we have fried chicken breast, which is seasoned to perfection. Then we dip it in our hot chicken dredge. Then we use some of our smoke uh, paprika aioli on there, and then we top it with a little bit of our fresh coleslaw and pickles. So, and then a nice fresh brioche bun. So when you bite into it, it's nice. It has that consistency of the brioche, and then you have that crunchiness from the coleslaw, and then you get right down to that heat, and then you have that mayonnaise that we use, or that aioli, pardon me, the aioli that just ties it all together. And it's all about layering flavors, right? Then
Right.
we have a southern favorite, which is our fried green tomatoes, and we have our own special chipotle dipping sauce that you put in there. We have our fresh, locally made chow chow that we put on there. And then we have classics like our smash burger, which is 2 3-ounce burgers with sharp cheddar cheese, our special burger sauce, and we put fresh caramelized onions on there, man. And it's all about, like I used to tell them as a, culinary chef, and the young chefs would ask me, Chef, what do you want me to do? I say, dazzle them, you know, dazzle them. Don't leave no, no room for doubt. Dazzle them. I don't care what it is. If you just, you're serving a crudité, you know, dazzle them, give them the best product that you can give them, and that's what we do. And we plan on executing that and taking it to the next level. There's also some things that I would like to do, but I can't do on the truck. It would be more fine dining or sit down situation. Like a pan-seared salmon with some of our put it in there, seasoning and rub, and then topping it off with some nice fresh roasted garlic mashed potatoes, stuff like that. Just real good food, that's hearty. You'll get more than enough for your buck. And that's the thing too. We want to make sure that people get the right amount of food. You know what I mean? Now, if you hire us as a private caterer, then we can go to all kind of levels. You
Right.
know what I mean? And that's the thing that I enjoyed about being a catering chef, is because in one day I could go from doing Mexican food to French food to American cuisine to whatever. It's all about what the guests want. And I think that's the best lesson that I learned, is how to serve and cater to the customer. Because without them, you have no business. So, and it's also about like the first face you will see is my mother in love, Lydia. People pull up, they see her, she's greeting them, she's smiling, and then they come up to the truck and you see my wife there, and it's always the same vibe every time. It doesn't matter what the day is or what's going on. We make people feel welcome. We let them know that we appreciate their business, and it's because I personally, as a chef, I we can cook, right? We know that. But when I go out, it's all about not having to cook and having a great experience. And when I hit the door, if I'm greeted with a smile, hello, how you doing? Thanks for coming in. Bam. That I'm like, okay, I'm happy I'm here, And then when we're seated properly and timely, food comes out, it looks good, it smells good. Hey man, that's what it's all about. Great service, And I think that's number one, is great service, because even if the food is not too good, sometimes there's room to grow in that area. But when you don't respect or appreciate your guests, it's like people don't want to even come back to even see next time what it's going to be like, you know. So
Right.
we always try to make sure that we greet people with great customer service, and we try to do simple things right.
Right. I know right now you make me want to make that 5.5 hour drive. You got my stomach over here growling.
Hey, come
Can't
on, see
wait.
us, man. Come
I
on,
can't
you know
wait.
you're welcome.
Yeah, no doubt. Talk a little bit about the fruit tea and the strawberry lemonade. Are those signature brands?
Well, those are signature things that we didn't start off with those initially. We although we had the ideal for a drink, because whenever I went to a restaurant, you know, the drink is a thing that you look forward to. You sit down and, you know, a couple spots, you go there and you know they got that grapefruit tea, or they got that great lemonade, or they got whatever drink it is that they make, right? And for us, we went with the fruit tea and the strawberry lemonade, especially in the summer, man. Lemonade is a popular drink, and it still is, right? Like Guru said, you know, so we just add a little strawberry in there, man, to, you know, flavor it up a little bit, see how that went. And that's a popular one. And we make that fresh, you know, ourselves. We bottle it right here in Nashville, just like all of our products are locally made. And you know, the fresh brewed fruit tea, the same way we use real tea. We don't use any powdered mix or anything like that, or anything from a pump. It's fresh brewed tea with fresh fruit juices, and not from concentrate. Well, like I said before, no high fructose corn syrup or none of that, you know. So you get to eat the food in good conscience. just don't
Right.
just don't overdo it. But you
Right.
know, a lot of people, they get the lemonade and they be like, man, that was great because it's not too sweet, you know, and you can taste the strawberry, you can taste the lemons, and you know, they feel good about drinking it, you know, and not, man, you know, I've got to go test my blood sugar after this. You know,
Right.
it's not, you drink it and you like, okay. You know, I've had people, man, that pull off, drink one, and circle right back around, be like, man, give me two more, three more of them lemonades. You know,
Right.
and that's the great part, man. That's the satisfaction that I get out of it. It's just like if you telling somebody to throw their hands in the air, and you know, and they waving it like they just don't care, they having a good time, and you setting them. That's the same thing with the food. You get that reaction, like, you know, people drive away. Sometimes people just get it, go in their car, and it don't make it to where they're going. You
Mm.
know, and they'll ride by, hit the horn, boom, boom, do one of them numbers, and keep it pushing, man. And that's what it's about, man. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
anything that you create or do as an artist, really, and people appreciate it, that's all the applause you need. You know, that right there, that smile, or as the chef say, they clean their plate, they finish their plate. You know, that's a compliment.
No doubt. What kind of research have you done on your or you're doing to identify your target audience?
Well, I mean, a lot of eating. You
Right.
know, because I'm a foodie myself. You know what I mean? So I love food, man. And you know, my family probably thought I was going to be, you know, human beatbox, you know,
Right.
because I love to eat as a kid. You know what I mean? And I ain't like to waste no food. You know, I remember my mom always told me this story about when she was feeding me, and if anything dropped and hit the floor, I tell her pick it up. And it's like, pick up the beans, mom, pick up the beans. You
Right.
know, so she's like, this boy greedy, you know, but it was just good food. So during our travels as poor righteous teachers, you know, we visit different cities, states, countries, and to me, part of the culture is the food, you know, and that's why, you know, I put something out there a while ago. I was like, you know, I like to add food as another element to hip hop, you know. And then, you know, I don't know what people thought or said, but I tagged a few people in there, you know. And the thing is, and the way I see it is this, right? Is hip hop is a culture, right?
Right.
And in order for a culture to exist, you got to have people. And in order for people to exist, you got to have food. And to me, to answer your question fully, is that's part of experiencing the culture is experiencing their food. If I go to Mexico, I don't want to eat McDonald's. You
Right.
know what I mean? No
Exactly.
disrespect. If I'm missing home that much, I might as well stay home. If I go to Italy, you know, I want to. Who got the best lasagna? Who got the best? You know, whatever. You know, I want to hear the music. I want to taste the food. You understand what I'm saying? And I don't want to see the history. I want to learn something unique about the culture. How the culture got started and things like that. But food to me is always tell you a lot about the culture, because sometimes the culture is blended, right? So, there's a lesson that say they taught us how to eat the wrong foods. That's mentally, spiritually, as well as physically. You know what I mean? Because the food ties you in with your culture. Like the yuca. We brought that from Africa with us, in different various things. So we be able to identify the culture with the food. So, or the town. If I go to Louisiana, hey man, who got the gumbo? Who got the jambalaya? Who got the etouffee?
Right.
If I go to Philly, who got the best cheesesteak? Is it Geno's? Is it Ishkabibbles? You know what I mean? And that was part of the cool thing of hanging out in Philly in different areas, man, is that, you know, we tried out the food, especially Jamaican food, putting that jerk, those seasonings, those spices on it. We could be way in Crenshaw. We be like, man, we know it's a Jamaican spot somewhere in each town. If I go to Philly, I'm going to Caribbean Delight, or I'm going, and I got my spots, you
Right.
know, and I know I'm going to get the good red snapper, the rice, and if the rice and peas is banging, I already know everything else is good. Because
Right.
to me, if when you pay attention to the details, the little things, that's what I know. So when chefs used to come in or cooks would come in and they were trying to get a job, I would have them do something simple like an omelet. Because sometimes I would throw them off, because sometimes they'll come in prepared with a dish that they had in their mind. And I want to know, are you going to pay attention to the little things as well as the big thing? You don't have to do nothing fantastic, but just show me that you care, that the French fry is nice and golden brown and it snaps, and the inside is cooked right. You know what I mean? And you salt it just right.
Right.
And don't do nothing too wild over the top that if we get busy, you can't reproduce it,
Right.
20 times in a row, stuff like that. So, I'll keep my eye out for that. But, it's just that palate, man. You got to taste a lot of food. You got to try a lot of food. And, you know, in my younger days, when I was a kid, they said, well, how can you cook beef? Because we're pescatarians. And they ask us, how could you cook this and know what it tastes like? And I'm like, man, I used to eat all that stuff. I know what it should look like. I know what it should taste like, because it's all about the seasoning, and the rest is you're just cooking it to certain temperatures. If you're cooking a brisket, it got to fall apart. It got to,
Right.
if you're cooking short ribs, you got to touch them and they just fall apart. And you already know, once you put your mirepoix and all the seasoning in, and you braise that thing and it falls apart, you got to win it. And what most people don't realize or remember, how we learned in school, that most of what you believe you taste, you actually smell. That's why when you have a cold, you can hardly taste your food, because you can't really smell it. So most of it has to deal with smell. So if you see somebody with a glass of wine, they'll swirl it around, put it in their mouth, put it around, and they'll put their nose in it, and they're getting everything of it, because you got to use those other senses. So that's how I gained my knowledge of food, is being around some great chefs. I owe it to them, because they wasn't having it. I worked with one Haitian chef, and he was hardcore, man. He would hand me hot plates. He didn't care. He didn't care how hot I thought I was, man, because I thought I was hot stuff in the beginning, but I was humble. You know what I mean? When I
Right.
ran into, because I went from just fast-paced cooking with cooks to hotels with chefs who had culinary backgrounds that was extensive, and they didn't like any cockiness. you know,
Right.
they were like, stick to rap. I'm like, I'm coming back tomorrow.
Right.
Just keep showing up. That's the thing. That's how you learn anything, man. Keep showing up. Never stop showing up, because showing up is half the battle.
Right. Now, have you been dealing with any other food trucks in the area? And what separates yourself from those if you're dealing with other competition and just people popping up, kind of getting the same idea from you?
Well, there's a lot of Tex-Mex in this area. You know what I mean? And the thing about it is that this area is growing a lot in terms of, and I'm gonna use this term because most people can relate to it, in terms of the African American experience in this area, right? So, you have a lot of barbecue and things like that, and I just want to stay away from that. You know what I mean? I do that on certain occasions. Let's say, for instance, Fourth of July and things like that, where people want to come out and they want to eat burgers and brisket and barbecue. It depends on the holidays that they celebrate. I would do that, but I just didn't want to do that type of thing. I'll provide you with the rub, the seasoning to make it great, to make it taste great, but I just didn't want to do that. Like, we have a thing that we do, it's called fish fry Thursdays. And we had a lot of people come up to the truck saying, hey man, we want some fish, we want some nice fried fish. And initially we didn't have that on the menu. So it was the people, and it was a request from the people. So we said, instead of doing that all through the week or doing it on Friday, we're going to give you a Thursday dedicated to fish fry. So we'll do that with nice mac and cheese, mixed greens, creamy grits, and stuff like that. Some nice thighs, some banana pudding, and all of that. And you come by on Thursday, and you get to get your fish. You can do it in sandwiches with all the toppings, and you do your thing. So once again, a part of it is listening to your audience. Instead of people, like, we had a thing in the music industry. Instead of doing artist development, is crowd development.
Mm.
Listening to your crowd, and not being shy to introduce them into something new, because some people will come up and sometimes they want the same thing that they've always had. And then we'll say, well, why don't you try this? Give them a little try. You know how they bombard us at the mall? Try. You want some? Try. And you be like, hold up, man. Let me get one of them little things. So, it's just learning from other people, man. What works, what don't works, what don't work. And then sometimes they try, like, wow, I never had that. Like, we have a carrot souffle. And, a lot of folks come with carrots. Well, carrots. But then when they taste it, like, wait a minute, this tastes better than sweet potatoes. The way, I ain't going to say what we do. You just got to taste it. But it's, they like, man, that's good. And some people had it before, but, they want, and they'll take, oh man, this remind me of my mother. Or when they get nostalgic with it, that's the thing. Nostalgia, it man, they start, because for me, like I said, it started with nostalgia with me wanting to eat the things that my mother prepared,
Right.
because I wanted to live in that space with her. You know what I mean? And when they taste it, oh man, this remind me of my grandma when we used to sit on the back porch, and all that stuff comes out. And one thing too about food that I noticed, and once people get their food, their mood change. You can
Mm.
change somebody total mood. Like, if you ever sitting at a restaurant, everybody kind of sit back. But once that food come, it gets loud. It's like, yo, man, yeah, what I mean? And they slicing their steak, or they doing whatever, and it just, because food can elevate the mood. You
Right.
know what I mean? So it's because it's touching those senses, man. You
Right.
hear that sizzle plate coming, you turn, and you're like, oh man, what I mean? And that's what it is, man. And the food kind of permeates outside of the trailer. So some people, they pull up, man, I smelled that on. Is that you?
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what's up, man.
No doubt. I know you touched on it earlier in the interview, but how hard is it to maintain the safety regulations on that food trailer? And do you constantly have, those people coming by to make sure everything's up to code?
Yeah, so we've been inspected 3 times now, and we had 100 on all our things. And one of the things, as a chef, you have to be serve safe certified. You know what I mean? Not just in how to properly and safely prepare food, but also just how to keep your equipment at certain temperatures. and things like that. We have signs located around. It's set up just like any other professional kitchen. We have signs around the hand sink, by the fryer, and everything as a constant reminder of washing your hands, foodborne illness, um, you know, uh, different pathogens and stuff that can be spread, making sure that there's proper gapping with the sink. It's just good practices, man, is what keeps the food clean, and just keeping it at the right temperatures. Keeping cold food cold, keeping hot food hot. Keeping it at 40 degrees if it's supposed to be, chilled, and then making sure that all poultry is up to 165. And just making sure that, all food casseroles are maintained at the right temperature. And that's what it's all about, man. You don't want nobody getting sick and
Yeah.
anything like that. So, we wear gloves when we're handling raw food. Well, ready to eat food. And we also wear it when we're handling, especially chicken, man. That's the most dangerous thing in the kitchen. So we make sure, and then having food properly stored and shelved. Land, sea, air. All of that, knowing all the rhythms of it, how it should be set up in the box. You know, ready to eat food at the very top. Just stuff like that, man. Just practicing good food habits, and just drilling it in my cook's head and other chefs' head. Because once you get to a certain level, you're no longer doing as much cooking, and that's what I like about now, because I'm back to cooking a lot more. But you're just watching to make sure that the food is being properly prepared and that it's safe.
Right.
As a chef, you're constantly tasting stuff to make sure that the consistency stays the same, but you're also looking to make sure that it's properly stored as well.
Right. Now, how do you plan on building and maintaining a strong brand identity for your business?
Well, it's just keeping it out there. Like right now, it's about marketing. As you can see, just like I got the shirt on, the hat on, to go right there. That's the clothing line. But just finding unique ways and tasteful ways to work in your product, right? So, say for instance, I would say, hey, listen, when you come on down, make sure you try some of this Hip Hop Top Chef barbecue sauce and rub. Put it on there, and you'll have a great time you know just finding those windows of opportunity to keep introducing people and keep reminding them about the product placement, logos. Today we just came down from the local market, and where we have our put it in there barbecue sauce and rub, and we speak to the sister down there that own the market, and it's just being there talking to the guests, and just not being overbearing, but making sure that it's there. What made me buy something? Why do I know all of these commercials and I don't work for the company?
Right.
Why don't I know I should be hungry for Burger King now? You know, why do I know where's the beef? Why
Right.
do I know it's time to make the donuts? Why do I know those things? And eh, this is what we have to do. It might not seem all that fly and cool in the hip hop culture, but if you want to be a salesman, you have to practice certain behaviors. You know what I mean? And you have to sell your product, man. I'm on here all the time. What's up, everybody? It's your man, Culture Freedom, Hip Hop's Top Chef, and we're here once again at TNT Fireworks. And guess what? It's Fish Fry Thursday. That means if you come on down, hey man, you gotta talk to the people. How do you sell a song? How do you put rock this funky joint? How do you do that, and you subconsciously put it in their mind that oh man, I need to get on down there. You got, if you don't love what you're doing, if you don't love your product, then you're not going to talk about it. I remember someone talk about Russell Simmons, and they were saying like every time they saw him, his whole conversation was, "Hey, you check out that new LL. Hey, you listen to that Run New DMC. Hey, listen, he you got to hustle, man. It's a hustle game.
Right.
It's a hustle game, and anybody that understands anything about hustling is that you find windows of opportunity to let people know what you have and what you're doing, how much it costs, where they can meet you at. you know, where you're going to be at, and why you should have it, you know, and why is it important? Why is it important to the culture? Why is it important to go and see, like, for instance, you know, I put myself on the label, right? At first, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to put my mother, which she is right here on the label. And that's the way that I paid homage to her, is by putting, I wanted her to be the face of it, you
Mm.
know. But I had as much, I had to think about the sentimental thing, and then what is the business decision to make, you know. And as much as I love my mom, I was like, I gotta introduce people to my mother, you know what I mean? So
Right.
I said, okay, I'll put her on here, and then as they're looking at the label and all that, they say, oh, okay, this must be his mom. But also, I put myself on the label is because when I learned the story about the brother who helped Jack Daniels build his brand, uh, and Uncle Nearest, I believe that's his name, and he showed him how to distill it, how to make it better. Because in order for it to be called Tennessee whiskey, it had to be prepared a certain way, right? And nobody know this. You know, a lot of times we invent products and we create products, and people never know. So, you know, my thing is, this is not Uncle Ben. This is culture freedom. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Hey, I put my face on here, so don't be turned off if you see me on here, because it's owned and operated by us. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
I wanted people to know, hey man, you know, we came up with this sauce, and no matter where it goes, you know, it was an effort that was made by us. So, you know, that's why I went with it. You know what I mean? And didn't look back. You know, and everybody buy it. You know what I mean? And you know, some people like, well, what does it cost? And well, it is. And I was like, you know, I don't want to haggle with nobody over price. If it's a good product, people will buy it. And we have people come out all the time, especially during barbecue season, and they'll get 4 or 5 bottles. My husband loved it. I'm gonna get me some of this. And we ran out. My kids was mad, you know, and I'm like, oh, ho, ho, here you go, you know.
Right.
And so we're real excited about that too, man. Is that we created a product that people love and enjoy. So,
Right.
yep.
How have you been adapting to seasonal changes where you are?
Man. So for almost 2 weeks, man, we wasn't doing anything. We just got back out there because we had a real serious snowstorm. You know, and you know when that happens in around mountains and stuff like that, man, you'll slide. And when you got a trailer, you know, sometimes the trailer will wag. You know what I mean? If it's so, we have to look out for ice and things like that. So it affected us for about a week, and then we had real bad rain. You know, a little drizzle don't bother us. We're typically open. You know, if we have a little drizzle, or if even if when it's cold, because it's conditioned. We have air conditioning and stuff like that on the inside. Plus, I mean, you got a grill and all of that, so it's gonna be hot in there regardless.
Right.
So if you don't mind pulling up and, you know, waiting for your food for 10 minutes, we got you. You know, we if you sit in your car, we'll get on a bullhorn. You know, my wife, she loves using that bullhorn. You know, so she'll get on there and call people over. But yeah, man. I mean, the weather is everything. You know, and we're expecting a early spring, so that's good. You know, for our first year. So actually, we're almost to. I think the seventh or the seventh will be the exact day that we bought the trailer. So we almost all the way around to a whole nother year, and we went through all the seasons so far, and we've been open every weekend. You know, unless we're doing a show, performing, or something like that. You know, other than that, that's where we at. That's what we're doing.
Right. Now you talked about your wife being involved with you. Is there anybody else that's part of the team that you'd like to shout out and give
Well,
acknowledgement with?
it's my wife, my mother-in-law, Miss Lydia. You know, she's very helpful. She's like our prep cook, and a lot of different other things. You know, she don't have to do it, but she does it anyway. You know, she greet people, you know, and you know, she's been very supportive in all of our endeavors. You know, and I'm very blessed to have her as my mother-in-law. and she's awesome. And my son, he helps out sometimes when he's not doing his own thing. He's doing his own music. Mally got bands and all that other stuff. So he helps us out. He try. He's a good guy. But he's growing into his own thing. So those are really our stars right there, man. It's family. If family don't help you, man, that's what we try to do. And then my daughter, she's in Texas, and when she's around, she'll try to give us a hand, or she'll help us online with promoting, letting her friends know, as well as my son. You know, go see my mom and pops. You know,
Right.
they'll send out some texts, and we get some of their friends, and stuff like that. And that's so we're just working like a unit like that, man, with everything. You
Right.
know.
One of your biggest goals, like you mentioned earlier, is to have a restaurant. How far do you think that dream is away?
It can be as close as tomorrow. You know what I mean? It's all about resources, and I'm hopefully within this upcoming season or year that can be made possible. But right now, we're just concentrating on getting the food out to people. Reaching them, going to where they are. I believe before you can get people to come to you, you got to reach out to them first, and that's what we're doing. We're out in the community every weekend, talking to people, letting them sample the food, and then developing a crowd, developing an audience first, because a lot of times people open up restaurants and they haven't developed an audience, and then they're struggling with paying the bills as well as advertising and all of that all at the same time. So we call this is some people say no risk is affordable, but what I've learned from Damien from Shark Tank is one of the things he always talked about was taking affordable risk. And I'm not ashamed to start out in a trailer, because no matter how it goes, we're there. You can always use a trailer for something.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that was a risk we were willing to take, and hopefully and then it's free promo too, because when we drive the trailer through the city in different parts, you get to see the logo on the side and all of that. It's hard to do that with a restaurant right away.
Right.
You gotta pass out a bunch of flyers, go all around. So that's one of the ways.
Right. Can you
Yeah.
talk a little bit about the location for those who are interested in coming to visit?
Well, we're in Laverne, Tennessee at TNT Fireworks. We're typically there right under the sign. It's between Murfreesboro Road and Waldron Road in Laverne, Tennessee. You can stop by and see us from Thursday to Saturday from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Until we sell out. And sometimes we sell out and then we gotta close a little early.
Ah,
But those are our hours. If you come by, you're going to get great service, great food, and your dollar will be definitely appreciated.
right. And for those who can't make it, what kind of items can be shipped to them and where can they find those at?
Well, if you go to www.cult-freecollection.com, you can pick up the barbecue sauce and rub. You can pick up some of this gear right here. We got baseball caps, sweated hoods. You can get the barbecue sauce and rub, or you can get some poor righteous teacher stuff too. We have some of those things online. And hey, man, I'm just trying to stay clear of Cat Williams, so I'm doing all my stuff. I'm doing all my stuff myself, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, I don't mind taking a long, hard road. You know what I mean? I ain't trying to have no dirt out there on me.
No
If
doubt.
you come and see us and we doing it ourselves, if somebody out there that want to talk to us about franchising or you know no funny business, come see us. You know what I mean? We do things right and exact. And if come see us, man. If you feel you can help take us to the next level, we can sit down and talk about it.
No doubt. You mentioned the PRT. What is the status of the Poor Righteous Teachers at this point?
Oh man, Wise is doing his thing. He's still working with his nonprofit, which is the Boss Up program. in conjunction with Rap Snacks. Um, and I believe he's working on some new joints. I'm working on a new joint. I'm going to come out with the platinum edition of Tools of the Trade, which will be including some of the new songs that I recorded with some other artists. And Poor Righteous Teachers, we're still performing, man. Hit us up. You got the right thing. I mean, it's Black History Month.
Absolutely.
We doing it all year, but if you feel like you want to bring me out, hey, listen, man, I'm coming. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you want it, we're both doing lectures. You can talk to us about anything, man, from food, fashion, to the community, um, a variety of areas. Bring us out, and you'll be pleasantly surprised that we got a very uplifting message. And Poor Righteous Teachers is we're just maintaining. It's the same old thing. We don't change regardless to what's gained. It's all about, the mission is to reach our people, elevate our people, show and spread love to all the human families of the planet Earth. And that's what we're about to do. And that's what we're about. And I talk to Wise a few times a week, but we're sending memes and stuff to each other every day.
Right.
I just hit him with one a day. I knew what he was saying, but I just hit him with a funny meme anyway.
No doubt.
Just because, man, even teachers need to laugh. You know what I mean? And Wise is a serious brother. So, I think that's what made our group work, is because the whole yin and the yang thing, and yeah, man, me and Wise relationship is straight, man. It's strong as ever. And we just did the Jersey 50 year of hip hop, alongside Queen Latifah, Tretch, Redman, I think it was Lords of the Underground, Heather B, um, and a bunch of other folks. And there's so many rappers from Jersey, man. I saw a thing with Tretch. He was on another show, I won't mention, and he asked about King's son being
Oh
from
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Jersey.
yeah, yeah.
And it was like Nori didn't believe son was from New Jersey. And a lot of people might claim him. I heard some other players claim him, but as far as I know, he's from Jersey. We did the song "Gods Are Taking Heads" with King's son. It was on his Righteous But Ruthless record, and we recorded it in Jersey. And as far as I know, he was from that Patterson, Newark area. That's as far as I know.
Right.
And he's dope. The Fugees. I mean, the Outsiders. I
Double
mean,
X, double X posse from there.
Double X Posse. It's a bunch of artists, man. Producers. Can't forget the incredible producer Tony D.
Mm.
R.I.P. Rest in peace. Can't forget my
YZ.
brother, Father Shahi YZ. I just was talking to him actually yesterday and today. And 45 King, man.
Rest in peace.
I cried, man. I ain't even gonna
Yeah.
front, bro. I
Right.
couldn't stop. I was like,
Right.
because 45 King was a whole movement, man. Like that whole area, he introduced us to Queen Latifah,
Chill Rob G.
Lakim Shabazz, Chill Rob G, one of the best MCs ever, in my opinion. And when he passed, man, it was just like, wow, you know. So I hope, he put a lot of good stuff out there for people to enjoy. And I just hope, man, that his memory never dies, man, because 45 King was a whole vibe, man. And we were down mostly North South Jersey, and we had WPRB, which was a radio station in Princeton. It was an underground radio station, and we would hear their joints, they would hear our joints. And there was, I won't say no competition, but there was a thing to where, like, we gotta represent Jersey, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
And Poor Righteous Teachers, it was always like, man, if we was from one of the boroughs, it wouldn't even be no conversation. We won't even be talking. You know what I mean? Because we're definitely golden era. We put in the time, we put in the work, we stayed true to the craft. And within the Poor Righteous Teachers itself, you have all the elements of hip hop. You know what I mean? Wise is a former break dancer, graffiti writer. I came in the game as a beatbox. It then went to a producer, then an MC. You know, Shahi was one of the best DJs ever. And I got some old footage that hopefully, I'm going to be able to transfer it from VHS to show you Shahi cutting with his stomach, his
Mm.
mouth, the whole 9 yards, man. He was a total package as far as a beat maker and a DJ. And man, Wise said it this way. He said, "Why, oh why must I try to explain this? Then left not understood because the listeners were brainless. Hang this picture on the wall at its goal state. Would have been holy intellect, but most pro devils perpetrate. Hate to be neglected when we're best denied a record. I perfect it. You can check it. I'm trashing. Wigwam strictly my shunt." And
Right.
that was the statement. It's like, we ain't trying to hear that, man. We got mad love and respect from the pioneers, or for the pioneers in the hip hop grand game, the Grandmaster Cazes, the African Bambatas, the Melly Mel's, the Funky Four plus one more. I mean, all of those guys from the Grandmaster Flash, man. I mean, how could we ever forget that? I remember Wise being in an interview, and Lord Jamal asked him, being that y'all wasn't from Newark or right next to New York, how are y'all able to catch the essence of hip hop and the music and all of that? And there's a couple good answers to that. One is the New Jersey Transit, you know what I'm saying, which
Right.
runs from New Jersey all the way up to New York. There's the PATH train. There's all that stuff. So we were always there. Because hip hop was the music and fashion capital of the world. We used to always go to One Deuce Fifth and Lenox and get Bally's, Clark's, all of that stuff. We listened to WHBI, you know what I mean, before Mr. Magic and Marley Marl went over to DAS and all that, BLS and all that stuff. So we used to listen to that, man, and we would get all of that Rap's New Generation and all of that other stuff. So we grew up in it. You know what I
Right.
mean? We didn't start it, but once it got started and that spark reached out, that's what helped keep it alive, is all the people that loved it. And when we got to the ripe age or a position to where we can express that love and passion for what we listen to, and all those artists that we came up listening to, we jumped at the chance, man. And New Jersey is definitely a haven for hip hop like any other place. And I always love, New York artists from California and everywhere else. That's why I'm never biased towards any artist from any place in the world, because I know the struggle, in doing something that's unique and in your own way and having your own sound. And KRS said one thing, man, that I always remember. He said, "What do you think makes up a KRS? Precisive teaching or very clear speaking, ridiculous bass,
Oh,
aggravating treble, rebel, renegade must stay paid, not by financial aid, but a range of hits, causing me to take long trips." He said, "My album was raw because no one would ever think like I think or do what
do like
I
I
do.
do,
I stole the show and then I
and then
leave without a clue."
blue.
So, those were lessons that, if PRT wants to be different, if you want to be in hip hop and you want to make a statement, think like you think and do what you would do. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And everybody's gonna want to dish you. You know
Right.
what I mean? So we already knew that. You know what I mean? But like James Brown said, whatever I do, it got to be funky. He
Right.
said, "Bobby, what you
I,
gonna play?" He said, "I don't know, but whatever I play, it got to be
oh,
funky."
right.
And rock this funky joint. You know what I mean? But wait a sec. The teacher gotta check the intellect. You know what I mean? Because when we do it, we gotta do it. We gotta place it just right. We can't just do it. We gotta do it just right. So when it hit them, you know what I mean? They have no choice but to respect it.
Right.
Wise is very humble. I'm a humble guy, but I'm also a street guy. You know what I mean? Who is in the streets. And in order for me to eat, I had to go out there and bring something home. That means if a lion caught a deer and he was over there enjoying it and there was no other food out there, I'm coming home with a leg, an ear, or something. I'm going over there. Hey, I'm going over there and I'm pulling the piece and I'm coming back with something to eat.
Right.
Like it or not, I don't care how the lion feel. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Look, he either gonna stop eating and chase me, or he gonna let me have that piece, and I'm gonna go home and feed my family. But something is gonna happen. I'm a bushman out here, man. You know what I mean?
Right.
Hey, I'll walk up on the line with a stick
Right.
and cut me off a chunk, an ear, a butt, something, and I'm walking away with it. You know
Right.
what I mean? You know what I'm saying? If I want to have peace in my home, you understand what I'm saying? You, hey, look, man, this is what I got today. And that's how I felt about hip hop. Hip hop gave us a way, hip hop saved a lot of our lives, man. You know what I mean? It
Right.
made a way out of no way. You know what
Right.
I mean? Because they was cutting off those programs and all of that. And it was like, man, I just told a story, and I don't know how much time we got left, but I
You
told
good?
this guy, man, I remember in high school, I was sitting in my art class. You know what I mean? I came in there, I'm obviously b-boyed out. You know what I mean? And I'm
Right.
sitting in the front, and he got all this regular students, and I'm sitting there, and for some reason he wants to start talking about hip hop. The art teacher, oh man, it's not gonna last, and this and that. And I'm watching them, and they're like, this guy isn't, he's enlightening us. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, man, I ain't feeling this right now. You know what I mean? I ain't holding it against him, but he was like, man, it's this ain't gonna last. It's a fad. It's like the beatbox. People was walking around here doing that all the time. And I'm like, man, I thought we were supposed to be painting or something. You know?
Right.
And so he kind of lost me after that, man. You know what I mean? Because I was like, yo, dude, that was my life. You know what I'm saying? That's what I was living. That's what I wanted to do. And if I wasn't doing that, what else was I going to do? You know what I mean? I had to start rethinking, like, okay, I could do this, I could do that, you know, on my way home. And then I kind of shook that off. You know what I mean? I was like, this is what I love. We ain't got no classes for this. They wasn't teaching college courses on hip hop at that time. You know what I mean? So I had to go to the streets and learn.
Right.
And I was like, this is my class for this. I can get this grade, but if I want to learn anything about this art form and this culture, I'm gonna have to be at the skating ring. I'm gonna have to be at the clubs. I'm gonna have to be over my boy house. Whoever got turntables until I get mine. I'm gonna have to
Hmm.
find me a microphone. But this guy right here, he ain't have nothing in the corner. He ain't have two turntables and a microphone in the corner. you
Right.
know. So I said, man, but right now that you're bringing it all the way full circle to the beginning of our conversation is one of the reasons why I feel so passionately about the Passage Theater in Trenton, New Jersey, and this play that they're putting on, Ghetto Gods from Divine Land, because it speaks to the social economic climate in the projects, to where the have-nots have not. You know what I mean? And
Right.
you got to you're basically trying to survive. It's not about, those who are sheltered in, they might have different outlets, but on a daily basis, you're trying to survive. And somebody got to go fight that line and bring something home. You
Right.
know what I mean? And you're not thinking about, Bushmen ain't thinking about some of the things we thinking about. They
Right.
ain't thinking about Wall Street crashing. They ain't thinking about none of that stuff. They're trying to feed a monkey some salt balls until he show him where the water at.
Right.
And then once I get this water, I'm good. And that's basically, what it is. And by the grace of the Most High God, I'm still here today to tell a story that I got to tell. And that's why I'm so passionate about it. And people might say, well, who would this guy think he is? And I am hip hop. You
Right.
know what I mean? Period. I don't care where you from or where you go. If your ideal was to push hip hop throughout the world and throughout the country, well, I'm evidence that it worked.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And we
Right.
all are. You know what I mean? My man, the journalist, one of the best in the business. I'm talking to you right now. If you haven't had an interview with this man right here, then the story might not get told correctly because this brother is not. It's not entrapment. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? It's not entrapment. He asked the right questions, and it's all about the culture, man. You know what I mean? This man is definitely no vulture. Take it
Appreciate
from the culture.
it. No doubt. And
Yeah.
on that note, Culture Freedom, I appreciate everything you've done for the culture, everything you continue to do for the culture, your great accomplishments and everything that you got going on in 2024. Before we get out of here, can you let the people know where they can keep up with you at and your website?
Listen, if you want to keep up with me on IG, go to Culture Freedom, or go to Hip Hop's Top Chef on IG. If you want to keep up with me on Facebook, go to Culture Freedom Carrie Williams, which is my government name, and check me out, man. I'll go to the Poor Righteous Teachers on IG, and we're sharing things on there as well. Listen, man, bring me out, bring me out, bring me out. Let's
Absolutely.
do this thing, man. Look
Absolutely.
forward to some new music from the group, and come out and check that play out, man, if you can.
Right.
I got some questions to ask. I don't know if I have time now, but I always want to ask you, man, how did you know King's Son? Because I know King's Son, and you know King's Son, like y'all. I don't know
Yeah.
what the
I, I,
relationship is,
I
but
managed him for a quick minute.
okay,
So I got to interview him a couple years ago, and from that we just built a relationship. And I went out to he's out in Virginia, so I got to spend the
yeah,
weekend with him, and tried to get him back on his feet. So
that's dope. That's dope.
yeah, yeah. So I always admired the guy, and we got the chance to build for about 4 days straight, and
Yeah, we
yep,
was label mates, man. We was label mates with him.
profile.
I saw him in the South Bronx on Cedric Ave at the 50th hip hop anniversary. And I'm
Okay.
sitting there talking. I come down the stage. He's like, Culture Freedom? You know how he be. You know what I mean? And I said, what up, son? And that was pretty much it because we was on our way out. But it's always a pleasure to see that brother, man. And
Right.
he has the same energy,
Oh
all the
yeah.
time.
Oh yeah. All the time. You got to
All
walk
the
away
time.
almost.
Yeah, all the time. But
Before
man,
we
it's a
get out of here,
blessing.
any last words for your day one supporters?
Man, just continue to support, check us out. We're still around. You know what I'm saying? Don't wait until I die to put me on a t-shirt. Put me on one now while I'm still at work. you know Borrow that from my man Petty D, but that's a true statement, man. Don't wait until I die to put me on no t-shirt.
Right.
Bring me out now while I'm still at work. you know hey, we gonna keep it real for the culture. You know
No.
what I mean? Maybe
And
next time we'll talk about the infamous battle between Wise and Jay-Z in the project in
yeah,
Divine Land.
you know what? We gonna do
Yeah.
that. We're gonna do that in person because I'm gonna come and check out your
Hey,
spot
come
this
on
spring.
down, man.
I'm
Come
gonna
on
be
down.
there.
You're more than welcome.
Appreciate that.
All right, man.
Everybody, that's Culture Freedom. He's got everything going on. Be sure to check this interview out if you caught it late. The play, his clothing, as well as his food venture. Be sure to continue to follow him as well as myself. I'm the journalist Sin-seer, and we are out of here. Thank you so much, Culture Freedom.
Peace.
Peace.